Okay, it's going to get very, very exciting in the Aberdeen series. We're starting off season 3 not only with a massive transfer overhaul, with plenty more to come in the next few episodes because we have smashed our record sale by far. We've got a huge transfer budget and we started bringing players in, but there's so much more to do. I'll talk all about that in a second, but we also have a qualifying match for the Champions League group stage against Marseille. If we can win that, I'll also show the next qualifying match after that, and if we can win that also, we could be in the Champions League group stage, which would be insane. So let's run the intro and get right into it. Hi everyone, Jake here. Welcome back to the Aberdeen series. Hope you're all doing well. We're starting off season 3 after a brilliant second season as Aberdeen manager. There's going to be a lot to get through in today's episode if we go as far as doing 2 matches as well as the whole transfer window and everything that's happened so far. So do bear with us. It might be a longer one. It might be a short one. I don't know how it's going to go just yet. But first and foremost, before we get started, if you guys could keep smashing a like button, I would massively appreciate it. All of the support is really helping. It's my favourite series by far, this Aberdeen one that I've ever done, if I'm being perfectly honest. And you guys are contributing towards that massively. We're still getting a hell of a lot of viewers in, over 1,000 an episode at the minute, which is great, and long may it continue. So if you can smash that like button and hit the subscribe button as well if you haven't yet clicked it and you're this far in, I'd massively appreciate it. We've also hit 14,000 subscribers on the channel, so I want to do a quick thank you for that, and drop a comment down below if you want to get involved. I'll respond to as many as I can, and at some point I'll respond to it, even if it takes me a little while, but I do read them all straight away. So thank you guys for that, and thank you for all the support. Just to let you know as well, seeing as we are at the start of a new season, I'll cover the other things, which is there's a Discord in the description down below. There's also another channel about a fantasy football game called So Rare if you want to check that out. And also if you want to support us on the channel financially, you can hit that join button near the subscribe button and become a channel member. Different tiers with different perks. And to be honest, I need to sort it out because I haven't done enough with that channel membership scheme recently, so I might give it a bit of an overhaul and give you guys more benefits from it so we can get more people on board as channel members. Take a breath. Right, let's go for it, shall we? Season 3 is underway. We've already played 1 match of the league season, which, as you can see, we did win. We'll cover that in a second, but today we need to play Marseille in the PAF 3rd qualifying round first leg. A bit of a mouthful, that is, but if we can somehow knock them out, I don't know if it's a 2-leg affair. I'd assume it's only 1, but actually maybe it is 2. It is 2 legs. Okay, not sure how I'll go about this then. If it is 2 legs, maybe we'll just show the Marseille games. And if we do get into that next qualifying round, it's against one of Sporting and Wolfsberger, I believe. So we'll see how we get on, but let's just take it all with a pinch of salt right now to see how far we can go. In terms of our friendlies, we won half, drew 1, lost 1. I don't manage them, so it doesn't bother me all that much. It's purely for fitness reasons. We then started off the season with a strong win against St Johnstone, but they did have a man off after 5 minutes, so it was a little bit easy. But the big news this season is on the transfer front, where we've had an incredible turn of events. Now, let me just paint the scene for you before I go ahead and tell you about who we've brought in. We started off with about £1 million in the transfer budget and about 10k in the wages. Nothing too special, even though we had qualified for European football. It's just what we were left with. We had to deal with it. Now, our finances weren't in the best place outside of that. And in terms of players coming in, we just needed to replace a few players who were leaving on the end of contracts and just improve a few positions. And I started doing that. I do my business quite early, and I brought in the players that I thought we needed. And then we went ahead and had a major sale, which left us with loads of money, even though I'd already patched the positions that I thought needed to be fixed. So right now I'm in a bit of a pickle where I'm just trying to find positions where we can really improve on and get new talent in, because we may as well use that money for the benefit of the club. So let's cover exactly what happened. Firstly, we bought in Leighton Clarkson on a free. If you were watching season 1, you might remember he played for us then. He then went back to Liverpool, didn't do much, came back to us and did well, but he was really good when he was here. He's a good depth option to have in midfield and a quality player for sure, who's young with potential resale value. Before we get on to the big outgoing, we did let go Mansour, which I mentioned last season. He wanted to leave. He's gone to America Mineiro out in Brazil. I'm sure he'll have have a great time there. He was good for us, but it was time for him to move on. And because he didn't think he was going to get a work permit, Yilba Ramadani, the Albanian midfielder, decided he wanted to leave. He's gone to Hungary to play for Pushkash Academia. He was really good for us when he was here. I can't complain about him. He played in Hungary before, so I guess he wanted to go back, so the Albanian left us for just under £500,000, a nice bit of cash. He wanted to leave. We could have done with some money, so we let him go. Our replacement for him was Loni Sher-Ndor from Benfica, who I just brought in purely on the fact that he has a lot of good talent. He can fill in a bunch of roles and also help the midfield. I didn't think we'd ever have a chance of signing him, but because of how much we do have in the budgets now, there's a good chance I can make this loan fee a real fee. I mean, it only costs us £1.5 million. Could be a very good deal for a player who looks very talented at such a young age, so he is in on loan, might make it permanent soon. We got this young right back for really cheap called Mike Wilson, who we signed from Ayr United for only 55k, a good deal in my books. The goalkeeper that we had for the first 2 seasons, whose name escapes me right now, Kili Roos, that was it. We decided to let his contract expire at the end of the season, so we needed a new goalkeeper, and we have gone for the 6'5" Croatian Ivan Nefestic for only 100 grand. He comes from Dynamo Zagreb, where he was their backup goalkeeper. He's a player with a lot of talent. He's clearly got ability, and I think he'll slot right in the net for us. And then to fill in that Mansour-shaped hole at left back, we have loaned in Josh Wilson Espran from Manchester City. He was at Dundee last year, maybe didn't do great, but for us so far, he did well. And I mean for us so far, I mean the first game that he's played for us. But Dundee United weren't the strongest team last season. Now he's joining a stronger side. Hopefully he can do a little bit better. Very talented, no optional buy fee in his contract. He's just here for the year. Again though, do remember at this point, I didn't know we were going to have a lot of money to spend, and we'd pretty much maxed out our budgets at this point. But then the player that we knew that we couldn't hang on to for too much longer, Fabrizio Diaz, decided he needed to leave. I mean, he spoke to us last season and said, boss, if we get an offer in for £22 million, I'd like to go. And it was a bit of a, £22 million would be a really good fee for us. You're also a very talented player who I'm sure will be worth more than 22 mil in the future. But it was getting really hard to keep hold of him. We had Premier League clubs interested: Watford, Palace, Leicester City, Norwich. None of them were reaching that £22 million mark. Then Sociedad came in for 20 million. We rejected it at that point, and I was kind of hoping, because it's so early in the window, they might offer something else. And they then went ahead with a non-negotiable offer of £30 million. And I thought, you know what? Let's take it. We have a 30% percentage of sale for him, so if he does go on for a big move in the future, we can get some funds there. We're getting £20 million up front and 10 million in instalments, and that 10 million will probably keep us going throughout the course of the season. He was good for us, maybe not as exceptional as we thought he was, but he was a great option and clearly the most talented player we had. Sociedad have signed him. He's only a squad player there, apparently, but valued at around £50 million. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll somehow bring him back, but he certainly did the job of what we wanted. Bring in someone on the cheap, play him for a couple of years. We bought him in January in our first season, played him for a year and a half and made a £28 million profit. Very good business in my eyes, and he has given us a lot of transfer funds. And whilst it was sad to see him go, it did mean that our game plan was kind of working. My idea always was, at the start at least, to sign these young players that we can develop and then sell on for huge profits, which can really help our team in terms of where we want to go. And our next player that fits that bill is Bayern Munich's Arjan Ibrahimovic, who was let go on a free deal despite being excellent for Bayern Munich's second team last year. He's been a great player for them. He initially wanted 19 grand. We tried to negotiate down to 14 and I decided to pull out of the deal. This was when he was still at Bayern, but his contract was expiring. But by the time he was a free agent, no one seemed to want him. We offered him 5 grand a week and he took it. Now he is a versatile player, but for me, he is going to be that Mezzala in midfield. I want to get the best out of him, hopefully develop the 18-year-old to be a top player. And I mean, you can see his transfer valuation already. It was definitely worth the punt. Just to let you know, Aberdeen's record sale before that was something like 5 million for Calvin Ramsey. Diaz was 30, and I think it might have even been a division record, at least what it told me in Football Manager. But we did decide to actually splash some of that money. The only part of it that we've really spent was £4 million on a Feyenoord player. His name is Patrick Vollemark. He is a Swedish right-sided player who can cut in on his left foot. A strong inverted winger was exactly what we needed. Ryan Duncan is good in that position, but he's still young and very raw. I'm not saying Patrick's old at 22, but he's a much better developed player at this stage and he certainly fits that bill of being an inverted winger. I think we've got a great deal on him. He has now joined us, and that is our transfer business up until this point, but trust me, there will be more to come. Right now, we're operating on a huge profit. I'm not going to use all of that Diaz money on transfers, though. I think that can really help us in terms of developing the training facilities, the youth facilities. We'll make use of his money in the best way possible. We have sacrificed him to help the club. We've also loaned out quite a lot of our good young players in the hopes they can keep developing, which a lot of them have been doing. We saw great success with a player last season who's now in our first team, and we'll be hoping to replicate that again. The player in question is Mason Hancock, who was brilliant on loan last season for Partick Thistle with a 7.5 pretty much in the championship. If he can do anything like that for us, that would be a great player to have developed at the club. But yes, we've got plenty of money to spend still, £18 million or so. I'll probably spend £10 million or so of that and keep the rest in the budgets, but there's a lot of work to be done. I'm just not sure where, so I could use your guys' help. I think goalkeeper, we're fine. In terms of talent, we've got Ivan Neverstitch and also the young Dane McMullen coming through slowly. Right back, we've got Darnell Fisher and Jaden Richardson, and whilst we're here, I should talk about the fact that the majority of the squad was unhappy that we sold Diaz, so we are struggling a bit in the dynamics right now. Not massively, but we do just need to be careful because there are a few people who are a little bit upset. Duke also wants to leave because he doesn't think he's going to get a work permit. He scored a lot last season, so that will be a tough hole to fill. But yes, Fisher and Richardson at right back. Maybe we invest in a better player there, although Fisher is still very good. Left back, we have got Jack McKenzie and Josh Wilson Esbrand. Centre back, we've got Mason Hancock, Gagnon, Caro, Sevelic and Beso, which I'm very happy with still. Midfield, we've got Undor, Cafu, Barron, Clarkson. Arjen Ibrahimovic, I mentioned, is going to drop into that midfield position. Inside forward, we've got Alan Forrest and Vinny. Inverted winger, we've got Patrick Vollemark and Ryan Duncan. And up front, we've got Miofsky and Duke. So I've got good players in all areas, so I think we'll only really go for those players that can really elevate our squad, and even then we're going to have to move people on to make that a viable solution. But yes, very happy with our business so far. We've covered pretty much everything that we need to. We've got great players in the development centre ready to come through or be loaned out, so we will keep an eye on a lot of these guys in terms of if any of them can make a mark in the first team. But we're good. We're ready to get into this Marseille game. I've kept you waiting long enough. We'll do both legs in this video, so let's pick our side. I believe if we don't qualify here, we still drop into the Europa League, or at least I hope we will, which is still more than good enough because we were in the conference last season. To jump into the Champions League would be a big step, and we likely wouldn't get any points at all. But purely on a financial standpoint, I would like to make it. But yes, we're going to go Neverstitch in goal, Darnell Fisher, João Beso and Gagnon. Is that what I want? I feel like we are actually going to go for Andres Caro and João Beso, just because that's the centre-back partnership I see long-term currently. Jack McKenzie, no, I think we'll go for Wilson, Esbrand, Clarkson in the deep line playmaker role. I'm not too sure about. I think I'll do Shirt and Door. I'll also do Cafu as the box-to-box. Some of the players we've signed weren't ready in time to register, so we can't use them today. But I think I'm going to go for Cafu and Ross McCrory in the midfield. So it's pretty much a team that you would have saw last season at this point. Nothing too crazy. And then because Duke isn't fully fit, we are going to start with Miofsky. Now, I'm not expecting anything from this Marseille game. Let's be honest, they've got a very good chance of beating us and probably smashing us, but if we can just stay in the tie, basically, maybe we've got a chance. But at this stage in the season, we haven't yet picked up that momentum or the dynamics or anything like that that you usually get halfway through a season, where we might be able to use that to win this kind of game, because realistically, talent-wise, we are nowhere near the level of Marseille. But yeah, like I say, sometimes mid-season, you can use that little momentum boost that you've got from winning a few league matches to help us, but we won't have that here. Instead, we're just going to have to hope that we can get a win. Let's change this to be Marseille's formation. But hold on, there is a chance for us with Vinny playing the corner in. Are we going to get a shot off? Here's Sharon Dora, a player with a lot of talent who I think, again, if we can sign him permanently, we can really develop at the club and possibly sell him on for a big fee. But so far, we're not looking too bad. That's a good ball through. Ryan Duncan's in. Oh, he's offside though. He is offside, but that's a great start from us. 15 minutes in. Nothing going the way of Marseille just yet. All is so far though, which is nice to see. And there is another highlight with us on the ball, and we're building it out nicely. Here's Wilson Esbrand, who I think is an upgrade on Mansour, is much younger, and maybe we'll be able to sign him permanently after this. There's Vinny though, has the ball stolen off him, and Gerson, who is a brilliant player, is going to try and bring the ball forward for Marseille. It's Zizou on the right wing. We've done well. Andres Caro stops the ball getting to Milik, and Neverstitch is going to build out from the back. It's a great long ball forward. Miofsky does well to knock it down onto Ryan Duncan. Could be a chance here for our first goal. Can he cut it back and cross it in? He's going to try. He finds Darnell Fisher, who floats it, and McCrory heads it just over the bar. But we have to be happy with how well we've played so far, away from home. And even though we're only 27 minutes in here, and possession is all in Marseille's favour, and we haven't really had any major chances, I'm kind of feeling good about this. I'm happy with how he performed. It's better than what I would have expected. And we've kind of stifled Marseille at this point, which is fine. If we can, like I say, stay in this leg, even if we only lose by 1, 2 goals, we have a chance at home at the end of the day of potentially turning this around. But so far, so good. And there is an issue that I need to fix. Darnell Fisher, who got suspended about 19 times last season, it felt like, because of that super high aggression. We need to try and sort that out. And I think the only way to deal with that might be to sell him and bring someone new in, even though he's very good for us, Fisher. Currently slightly unhappy because of the Diaz situation. Also gets suspended a lot, and who knows, maybe a player of similar quality can play just as well without the suspensions, which would be nice. But Marseille are starting to grow into this game a little bit. It's about time we make some changes. The attacking players on our side supposedly aren't doing too great, nor is anyone apparently, considering we're drawing in a game where I feel like we're the underdogs. It's pretty harsh average match ratings. But we're going to bring on Duke up front. That's the start. Cafu's going to come off for Leighton Clarkson, who hopefully can show us what we were missing when we didn't bring him back after his first year here. I think we're going to take off Vinny and bring on Alan Forrest. I'm also going to bring off yellow-carded Darnell Fisher for Jaden Richardson, and that leaves us with one sub that I think I'll hold on to. But it's now 60 minutes that have passed, and possession, even though it is in Marseille's favour, hasn't led to any crazy chances from them. The only thing we've really saw was that long-range free kick, and yes, they are creating chances, but not very high XG ones, and let's be honest, we are very happy with this if it ends 0-0. If we can actually almost make a Champions League, we'll be very happy with that. But we're just going to make our final sub now with Jack McKenzie coming on for Wilson Esbrand. We confirmed the sub, but there is a highlight now. Oh no, we're down to 10 men. McCrory's off the pitch receiving treatment, and it's a goal for Luis Suarez. I imagine it's not the Luis Suarez that used to play for Liverpool, and instead is that other one that, is he play for Granada or something in real life? Maybe he already plays for Marseille in real life, I'm not sure. It came from us trying to play the ball out the back. We were missing a player, McCrory, who would have been there, the box-to-box, so we got done by a player being injured. And it's kind of just snuck in at near post after a bit of a deflection. And I don't actually want to proceed with that change, just in case McCrory is completely dead, which it looks like he is. So let's take him off for Connor Barron. No Jack McKenzie coming on this time. We are now 1-0 down. It's hard to be mad. It's hard to be mad, isn't it, in a game like this where we're only losing 1-0. Who knows how well we'll do at home, and like I say, if we were midway through the season, there's a good chance we could win this. But considering the game thinks we've performed really poorly for every single player getting a terrible rating, pretty interesting that we only lose 1-0 against a very decent Marseille side. So maybe we are expected to do better than this. Just to check, it is the Luis Suarez that used to play for Granada. Yes, it is. Okay, that makes more sense. They haven't signed the old man. But all I'm going to say is you did yourself proud. That's all I can ask for. Even though there were poor ratings, we're still in this tie. So now I'm going to play the match off camera in the league, and I'll bring it back for the second leg of that Marseille match. So bear with me and let me quickly get there. Okay, after another game and another big transfer coming in, we are looking like things are going in a pretty good direction this year. We still need to spend a little bit more money, I think, in the midfield particularly, but we did manage to scrape past Hearts with a 1-0 win, a 4th minute goal from Alan Forrest, putting us in the lead. But after that, nothing was too spectacular. Our 2 new signings though, Arjen Ibrahimovic and Patrick Vollemark, were able to play in that game where they did well, but again, they're not registered, so they can't play in this Marseille match just yet. But we did spend a little bit more money. We spent £4 million, in fact, bringing in a new striker, could potentially rise to 5 million. Borussia Dortmund were interested in this Swedish striker from Darmstadt 98. They had bidded for him, and he was someone that we were also after. He scored goals in the Bundesliga. He's been scoring goals in the second division for fun, and I'm hoping he can score goals for us too. Only 20 years of age, a consistent performer, and in terms of ability level is better than both Duke and Miofsky, so you'd hope that he'd be able to score quite a few goals. Whether it will work out that well, I don't know. We also might have to let go of one of Miofsky or Duke now, but then we're going to have to generate some interest, but we'll see. He's someone I expect to be a good player for us, and maybe someone to sell on in the future. I thought we needed a striker that we could really build with going forward, that we were definitely happy with, and hopefully Oscar Wilhelmsson will be that man. But again, another one that can't play in this match today. So our squad is going to be Neverstitch, Fisher, Sevelic, Beso, Wilson Esbrand, Undor, Cafu, McCory, Duncan, Basujan and Miofsky. We don't even have enough people to fill in the bench because we can't register our new signings, but even still, we're crossing our fingers. We're hoping that being at home will help us out here. We also won the last match, of course, against Hearts, so hopefully that builds up some momentum, but we're not looking like that attacking unit just yet that I want us to be, like we were last season, but it's going to take some time to get there. Of course, as well, another big issue that we've got to deal with is all of these new signings and the team cohesion side of things, getting the players to start playing well together. It won't be easy, but we'll do our best. Now, Marseille here have lined up in the same formation as us, and realistically, position by position, they've got more quality than us pretty much everywhere. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. But here's Sosa, the left back for Marseille, with a first highlight in the 11th minute. Fisher wins it back for us though, and maybe it'll be a chance for us. Sheridan Dorr plays it forward to McCory. It's a very nice long ball to Ryan Duncan, who finishes spectacularly, chipping it over Pau Lopez. That makes it 1-1 on aggregate, gives us an early lead, only 10 minutes in, which will give us a nice momentum boost. It was a great ball over the top. Fought for a second, Ryan Duncan needed to square it and not shoot, but who am I to complain because he has put it in the back of the net. There was someone in the middle there, though, to tap it in. Thankfully, the goalkeeper gives us an easy chance to go forward. It's 1-1, and we might just be able to make it here into the next qualifying round for the Champions League. I did say as well it's for the group stage, but technically not, because I think at this point the Champions League splits up into that league format, which I actually think might benefit us a little bit more than an actual group table. Maybe we can make it through into the knockout somehow. I'm getting very far ahead of myself. We haven't even made it past the first qualifying round here, have we? But we do go very close again there. Vinny Basujan with the header just wide of the goal, but so far so good. I'm also very much liking Undor at the base of this midfield. He seems to fit it very nicely, has that passing range to try and make those killer passes, and hopefully he can make us forget Fabrizio Diaz ever existed, as hard as that may be. But I really do think we need a little bit of an improvement in the midfield, possibly in that box-to-box role. McCory does a good job, to be honest here. I just feel like I need to spend this money that we've got. Maybe we don't. Maybe we're done with our transfer business this summer and we should just hold off and play it safe and not just buy players for the sake of it, which might be the way to go. But if a good opportunity does come along for a young player, I will go for it. But I think for now, I am going to say, with that signing of the new striker, I'm done in the transfer window unless something else happens in terms of an outgoing that we need to replace. I think we've got enough depth in every position, enough quality to achieve what we want to achieve this season. And that money can sit in the bank, help with the team's development, help with the club's development, and maybe even they'll push some of it over into next season's transfer budget. I'm just going to say I don't want to spend for the sake of it, because I think there's a good chance we disrupt the squad harmony that we have. Will also affect those players that wanted game time and whatnot, so I am going to be careful in that sense. I don't think we'll splash the cash. We will do our best to keep everything going well at the club and maybe not go crazy in the market. But here we go. It's a Marseille corner. It floats in. Milik is there. Brilliant in the air is Milik, as we knew, but he has managed to put it in. And unfortunately, despite what seemed to be our dominance, it is going to be 1-1 and 2-1 on aggregate to Marseille. I say our dominance, possessions even, chances are in their favour now. So really, it might be time for us to make some changes and hopefully just cause a little bit of an impact. But we're very much struggling on the fact that our new signings that we bought in to replace the players we lost can't play here yet. It's very annoying, but we're going to have to make do. Here's our first few changes. We're going to bring on Caro and Mackenzie. Cafu not having a great game, so give me Clarkson. And then Basujan off for Forest, and Ducon as the striker. Takes off all of the poorly performing players, put them with the guys that are playing well already, and maybe, just maybe, we can turn this around, but we'll see. 20 minutes left on the clock. We are going to make it slightly more attacking now, in the hopes of creating something, although I know that doesn't really do too much in FM, flicking that button. But here's Clarkson. He was very good on set pieces when he was here last time out, but he's played it right into the arms of Pau Lopez, and Marseille will try and look to seal the deal here with a third goal on aggregate, a second goal on the night. But if we don't lose to them at home, it's not a terrible performance. But it is us on the ball. Beso to McCory, who puts it into a dangerous position, but does do okay. And Dorr finds Fisher. Fisher to Duncan. Duke's in the box ready if we can get the ball in. Duncan is going to do very well, beat his man. He goes all the way, tries to score himself, which might not have been the right option. Poor from Duncan, really, in terms of that. It did nearly squeeze in, mind you, but I don't think he should have gone for goal there. I think Duke was in a good position to pull it back to. And now with only a few minutes left, it's looking very unlikely we'll do anything. We'll try and go very direct in the hopes that can cause something. But let's be honest, I don't think it will. There we go, 3 minutes left on the clock. Make that 2. It looks like time's up on our Champions League hopes, but it's probably what we expected anyway. We're going to drop down into whatever we drop down into. I don't really know how it works. But in terms of an effort across 2 legs, yeah, we've kept up with one of the biggest teams in France, one of the most successful teams in France, with a great squad with players we could only wish of having, and we very nearly took them out. So fair play to us, I can't complain too much. We only receive £86,000 for that, so I'm not sure how much it's worth. Are we now in the Europa League then? How does it work? There you go, because we lost, we now qualify for the Europa League playoff, so that's going to be a game that's in our future at some point, so we need to look forward to that and hopefully qualify for that Europa League. At least that's what the rules say. I'm hoping we do get put into some kind of competition and we're not just completely done, which I hope really isn't the case. But yeah, credit to the boys there. We did what we could. Wasn't the result that we wanted, but look at that. A gate receipt record. We've got new players on the way. Hopefully they can help the team. I don't think I'll make any more transfer business, but you'll know by next episode. Thank you for sticking with me in this longer episode. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more, but most of all, have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Thank you and goodbye.